Cooper, and it's time for TSS Fantasy. It's Commissioner Cooper, and it's time.
How the fuck you got me up this damn early, Jason?
It's time.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's Commissioner Cooper, and it is time to wake up with TSS Fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel you. All right. You guys don't know because you haven't been here, so let's play our morning music. It's the Sunday morning extravaganza. And if you're up with us this morning, don't forget today is the first day you're waking up, you start your Sunday belly up with our new lineup coming up this Sunday. So after us, it's going to be the Coach Steve show, but we'll get into that in a second. Let's get to our introductions. I'm a little discombobulated, all the great festivities that happened last night. Welcome to the studio, Mike the Straw Hernandez. Welcome, my friend.
Good morning, everybody. Look how bougie we are on a Sunday morning, playing all the fancy Sunday morning CBS theme song music. Isn't this? Is that how y'all get down on a Sunday morning?
That is how we do it here on Sunday. Nice, and we have when we drink our tea, we put our pinkies up, and it's on and popping for sure. Nick, welcome this morning, my friend. Again, appreciate both of you waking up with TSS this morning.
Well, Jason, you're quite welcome this morning. Thank you. This is Nick. You got Flandered at Macaronis. You can find me on Twitter at You Got Flandered. And don't forget to go to our website to buy our wonderful, beautiful merchandise. Go to tssfantasy.com, click on the merchandise link. It'll take you to bonfire.com, and you can buy all of our wonderful t-shirts.
Indeed. As usual, don't forget, visit us, tssfantasy.com. All of our latest rankings. Current rankings are up right now, so if you're getting your lineup together, make sure to visit us. Check that out. You can obviously judge off what we got. Look at everybody else, too, though. That's what I always say. It's a good consensus of how to do it. Belly Up Sports Podcast Network. Don't forget to visit all our great podcasts from wrestling to racing. We have everything you can imagine. And as I mentioned before, don't forget this Sunday, you're waking up I got this whole moniker messed up. I'm the one who made it up and I can't remember. Start your Sundays belly up with us. We're going to have on after us Coach Steve show. He's the Bear pregame. Also, as well as some other great shows all set up. I'll pop it up here for you. After at 10 and 11, it'll be 4th and 4. 11 to 12, you'll be watching the Rough Cut Sportscast. And 12 to 1, Dan Mater will be on to give his last-minute fantasy advice. So you're getting the fantasy advice this morning. You get the fantasy advice right before you start. You can't beat it. That's how you start your Sunday's belly up. Also, don't forget, Unhinged Radio, guys. Check us out, 8 to 9 a.m. We're the morning show to watch. We make us part of your morning commute, and we are the fantasy show of the people. Welcome again, Sunday mornings. Unfortunately, last night the doctor couldn't make it today. Excuse me. So unfortunately, last night I was up late, and I didn't stay in a Holiday Inn Express last night. But I'm going to pretend to be a doctor this morning anyway. So let's start Dr. Miller's House Call.
He's the one that called Dr. Taylor. He's the one that makes you feel alright. He's the one that called Dr. Taylor. He's gonna be your Frankenstein. I got one.
I just like playing that music in the morning, kind of get you going a little bit.
You need to wake
All
up.
right,
You need to wake up with that one. Yeah.
Exactly. You got it. All right, let's go. We're going to just go by game. I'll just talk about some of these injuries that are prevalent to us. Tevin Coleman out. Let's go to the Jets and the Bengals game. Not much fantasy relevance on the Jets side, but Tevin Coleman is out still. So again, Michael Carter still seeing the upticks in runs, but again, I'm not sure how much that matters to you. And doubtful this game, if you didn't know, Corey Davis. So if you have Corey Davis, he is doubtful with a hip injury. So don't think he's going to see the field. That was per Doc's notes. So he gave me the go-ahead with a don't think he'll be playing today. Colts against, where are we at here? Titans at Colts. So for this game, not much. I'm just looking around. We did before Julio Jones is still. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I thought he was. I thought he was questionable. He actually is ruled out. So more AJ Brown. Lots of AJ Brown this game. Again, lots of Derrick Henry. Hopefully for your Derrick Henry owners. So we expect to see a good amount of both of those guys today. T.Y. Hilton is questionable, but he should go today is what the doc says. So somebody to note on T.Y. Hilton hasn't been huge fantasy relevance, but, at least he's going to be on the field hopefully for you today. The Rams at Texans, and, man, the Rams should just hope that the Texans should just hope that the Rams, everyone on the Ram gets COVID because this is going to be an ugly game to say the least. But, Nick, you had some Deshaun Watson news. It's not related. They're actually resting him today. He's not playing. And I don't know who I said. I'm sorry. I'm still hungover. Deshaun Jackson news. My bad. Not non-injury related, but let's talk about him real quick. What's going on with Deshaun?
I guess, is this me?
Yeah. Did I say Nick? Again,
Let's stop. Nick, I'm having so much fun. I'm so glad I woke up this morning to watch our commissioner struggle with this hangover this morning. My God.
He's not hungover. He's not hungover. He is just severely tired because he was up prepping for the show. He's not hungover.
Thanks, Nick.
He's not hungover.
Coming to my rescue there. All right, Nick, what we got with Deshaun Watson?
All right. Basically, Deshaun Jackson. I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. What was that?
No, I had said Deshaun Watson again. It's going on. I said I wasn't going to hit the dumbass on anyone this morning because we got up, but man, I think I deserve it. So we start. Go ahead. What we got?
So just to be on the Deshaun Watson, I do have the article up. They're going to keep him past the deadline.
All right.
Deadline. Okay. Well, so going back to Deshaun Jackson, basically Deshaun Jackson is a little disgruntled out in LA. He's not getting the reps. And so he and the Rams have mutually agreed that he wants to seek a trade partner. And Sean McVay, he's on board with it. He says because of his talents, he feels that he deserves another shot. So I'm thinking if he's got so much talent, why don't you give him a shot on the team he's currently on?
You know what's funny about that? Is that we saw there was some pregame show that I saw one time, and it was the Rams warming up, and they were throwing to the receivers. And I promise you, every single one of those wide receivers were engaged and they were into it. And Deshaun Jackson did end up like snickering, and he was looking like, I can't believe I'm like the fifth option on this offense and this, that, and the receiver. So when a player is like that, I mean, he doesn't. Not only does he not relevant in football in general, but fantasy, we shouldn't even be talking about him right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's an excellent point.
That's all.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's an excellent point, Mike. And the fact is, Deshaun Watson still can't stop doing it. Deshaun Jackson is an older receiver and a great prolific offense with a lot of young weapons at that. So probably, what you saw in him sitting around, he probably was thinking, damn, this team is loaded. Where the hell am I at? Where can I fit in this offense? You're not fitting anywhere, bro. Like again, you got young, good, healthy receivers. So if you can't fit in there, bro, I don't know what else to tell you. I'm not really sure how many places you're going to fit in at.
You know what? Who might take a flyer on them? This is just out of my head. Tennessee, because they have receiver help. I mean, they have a need because Julio is always on the bench. So Tennessee,
yeah, you could see that. You could see that, or you could see him in Detroit. I mean, quite frankly, they need some receivers. Or even Baltimore.
He might want to go home. He might want to go home back to the Bay Area. So keep an eye out for that. But again, how old is he? 36? I mean, he can still fly.
He's old for a receiver, and his strength was his speed, and he just can't blow the top off the defenses anymore. And
don't ask the Bucs that.
Hey, actually, as you bring them up, that's not a bad place for him to land neither. I mean, they've landed everybody else. Why not? All right, let's move on out of that game. Steelers at the Browns. So for this one, again, don't forget, guys, Nick, I'm just going to keep bringing it up, has his stardom this week is Ben Roethlisberger. So if you guys are out there looking for a streamer, Nick thinks that's your guy. We're going to sit today. We got questionable Obviously, I'm sorry, out today still is Kareem Hunt because he's been on the IR. So that situation is interesting. Mike, I'll kick it to you real quick on that running back situation. Do you feel like Dearness Johnson's going to take the Kareem Hunt role now, or do they go to Cedric Felton as the Kareem Hunt, and Dearness Johnson, after that huge game last week, becomes a nobody?
Well, to your point earlier, Cedric Felton does fill that Kareem Hunt type of pass catching ability role. But I don't know, man. Johnson showed us something. I mean, he showed that he is effective as a runner between the tackles, and he can kind of take it to the outside of the defensive line. So I don't know. I don't know what you do with that. I think the game is going to dictate what we see out of which running back. They also have the other guy. What's his name? Who's the other one that they even mixed into the Kelly? Joshua Kelly, I think they have as well. And, he's another one of those catching running backs. So I really don't know. I don't think you're going to take a flyer on any of these running backs outside of Johnson and Hunt and Chubb today. Yeah,
I mean, to your point, that's what I viewed it as. Like, all right, if you're a Dearness Johnson owner or even Cedric Felton, honestly, unless you have to, I would literally. There's only 2 teams on a bye. I don't see how you would have to. But due to injury stuff like that, you have to play him. You have to play him. But personally, I would take 1 week just to kind of see how they run this defense offense. And again, speaking of defense, against Pittsburgh D, this year that's been kind of helter skelter. Some D's, some weeks are good, some weeks they're not so good. So we'll see how it acts today. Nick, I can see. Do you have something to say on this? Because I know I brought up Steelers and I saw your hand going. I just want to make sure if you want to add in on it.
I was going to, but the only thing I was going to say was the only place where this happens where at least a back has a really huge good week and then you don't see from him again is New England, aka Jonas Gray. So, but I mean, if I'm Cleveland, I use every weapon I have for the rest of the season because right now your actuality from your projection is way off from what you were supposed to be. Like on paper, this was supposed to be like the team and the year. They're not even close. So if I were them, I use every weapon they have.
I definitely agree with you. This is it's a must win at this point for them for sure.
For fantasy, both your points, use them. I mean, you got them. I mean, how do you sit a guy who had 146 yards and two TDs last week? Use them.
Yeah, I mean, again, it goes to that old adage of what, game flow, how was he used last week? How is he going to be used this week? So, again, just got to kind of go with caution, I think, with the Cleveland back.
Chubb's not exactly healthy either. So it's going to be game flow. It's going to, like you said, it's going to be game flow. If Chubb tweaks, then they got to use him more.
Indeed. Absolutely.
It's a roll of the dice.
Don't get a chubby today. Anyway, Cleveland is the point. All right, so we got Eagles at the Lions. Sticking with your teams, and if those who don't know, Nick likes to travel back and forth from the AFC and NFC when it comes to his fanship. So whenever the Steelers aren't well, then we go on to the Eagles, who are playing at Detroit today. This actually should be an easy dub today for the 2-5 Eagles. I mean, again, if you're not starting Jalen Hurts, you're cray. But injury-wise, DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams continue to be questionable as they continue to, at least DeAndre Swift, be the number 2 fantasy running back in the league. So I don't think much is coming out of that. We know what's going on with the Lions situation. I mean, they are who they are. Both these teams I expect to have decent actual fantasy days since the defenses can't really hold water at this point. All right, let's go on to the 49ers and Bears. Again, not much notable here as I'm looking at it. Don't forget, though, I talked about it on Friday. Damian Williams is back in the fold for you Khalil Herbert owners. I know last week it was exciting for you guys because when Khalil Herbert came in, you didn't see him. But that's because he just came off a COVID. Dr. Miller talked about that morning. He was just coming off the COVID, so you wouldn't expect to see him since he didn't practice for 2 weeks. So now he's at a full practice week. He's going to get and eat in some of those carries. So I would temper your expectations, not to say I would sit him, but temper your expectations for Khalil Herbert today because Damian Williams will start to eat into those carries. Let's talk now about the Panthers and Falcons. So we know again, CMC still out, so Chuba Hubbard's still the man there in Carolina, and then the Falcons have remained relatively healthy. They literally have nobody on the injury report there, so good to go there. Well, and the true meaning of Halloween and true scary matchups, the Dolphins go to Buffalo today. And man, if I'm not scared for them, I don't know who I'm not scared for. I mean, this could get really ugly really quick, just like it did in Miami. Receivers wise, though, injury wise, Devontae Parker still questionable. I think he's going to go today. I talked to Dr. Miller about it. I think he is going to play today. So expect Devontae Parker out there. Although, again, I'm not sure how much he'll see the ball with Tua laying on his back. All right, out still Dawson Knox in Buffalo. So make sure you note that. We'll see who steps up for them. That means an uptick in targets for Emmanuel Sanders, for Cole Beasley. All of those guys expect an uptick. So if you need to go with a Bills receiver, I'd definitely be the day to do it. Patriots at the Chargers. Looking through here, got some questionable guys, but nobody looks the note. I'm sorry. As you can tell, I'm completely unprepared, so I'm just reading it as we go. The Austin Eckler situation, though, that's the one that's going to be interesting. Doc couldn't even give me a yay or nay on that. That's going to be a game time decision. Seems like he's questionable today. Will he or will he not go? Again, if you're an owner of Austin Eckler, you better have some type of option. This is 4:00, so some type of option either at the 4:00 games or the 8:00 if you plan on waiting up to time to see how it goes. Obviously, if you don't have Justin Jackson as well. Jags at Seattle. Seattle's defense is awful. So is the Jags, but in injury-wise, questionable still Alex Collins. So again, we go into that game, same thing. Wondering, he seems like he's going to go though. So that seems, but again, how much do they use him when somebody's questionably injured going into a game? Again, you can expect Rashard Penny to play in a little bit into this. So I'm not sure what a great play Alex Collins would be today. Washington at Denver. Curtis Samuel, I mean, if you still have him, you're cray-cray, but he's out. Everything else on the FT side is good. Broncos are good. They got questionable for Von Miller. So if you're playing their defense, maybe something to look out for. Talking about the Bucs earlier, this is going to be a great game. I'm just interested to see how Jameis Winston plays this game. But
wait. You didn't tell him about Judy's back from IR in Denver.
Thank you. Good. I brought it up last show. My bad. So I just kind of skipped through it. Yes. So Jerry Jeudy is on the IR, but thank you for holding me to that mic. Again, completely hungover and unprepared as we go. So I appreciate the looking out as we do it. Antonio Brown out for the Bucs today. So just make note of that. If you're a Mike Williams or Chris Godwin owner, more likely you were starting them anyway. But today, be excited. Gronk is back as well. But again, that goes into how much are we going to see Gronk today? If he gets hit in the ribs one time, who the hell knows what's going to happen there for Gronk. Do you have Gronk? Is that why you're getting a bird, or are you shooting someone else?
Nah. Macarenas beat the living heck out of me with Mike Evans last week. I heard that a little quick.
Shout out to Nick.
He dropped like 75 points with a combination of Tom Brady and Mike Evans last week.
That's all I needed, apparently.
That's all he needed to beat me last week.
And I'm happy. I was scared for that game, literally.
Hey, whatever works, all right? Whatever works. All right, let's go to the 8:00 game. Cowboys at the Vikings. Wow, talk about a injury situation that you really got to note is Dak Prescott. It's a game time decision. So unless you got Geno Smith or somebody on the money or Daniel Jones or somebody else other than somebody on these particular matchups, you might want to pick up somebody and stream them. I know I did personally in my league. I picked up Teddy Bridgewater, like his matchup today. I actually did pick up Ben Roethlisberger due to Nick's analysis, but then when I looked at it, like I talked about, one touchdown a game for me just wasn't going to do it. But again, he's still an interesting, as Nick pointed out, a good streaming option today. So I would go somewhere else, to be honest with you. It's too risky, especially on a Sunday night. And right now, I mean, we're getting deep into the season, so I don't think you really want to risk that going into this matchup. Other than that, on the Viking side, they're good to go. So it should be a good fantasy extravaganza, so to speak, in this particular matchup. So I do like it. And on Monday night, we'll just talk real briefly. Pat Mahomes, it's the Giants at the Chiefs, and Pat Mahomes is out of the concussion protocol. So you will see him go. Nobody else on the Chiefs side. And again, we already know the situation in the Giants receiving core, all the injuries, things of that nature. So Sterling Shepard is questionable for this game. If he goes, and so is Kadarius Toney. If he goes, I brought him up in our scary starts this week. He really could have a great game against this horrible defense. But with those hamstring injuries we talked about, they linger. So if that pops up during the game, bye-bye Sterling Shepard, and there goes your game. So again, if you have another option, I would just do it. It's all the way on Monday night. So for me, that's where I would do. All right, so we talked about our injuries, probably not in depth, of course, like as Dr. Miller would do it, but let's go now. We're going to talk about today's weather, and I can't find a damn video clip. I'm sitting here. This is how hungover I am. I'm literally scrolling through the side trying to find the weather report clip, but I can't freaking – oh, here it is. All right, here we go. It's time for the weather report.
It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day.
All right, week 8 forecast. And if you're watching on YouTube, that is correct. I am Stormy Bear. And that's not just because I'm doing the weather and there's not much stormy news going on today, other than Buffalo. Believe it or not, we'll start there. Miami at Buffalo, 46 degrees, and it could be a possible drizzle there today with 11-mile-an-hour winds. Sounds like a typical late Buffalo day and in the fall. So Miami, Buffalo, a little bit of rain, could be cold. That could make things a little more interesting for Miami, maybe actually slow down Josh Allen a little bit. So just watch out for that. San Francisco at Chicago, 53 degrees today, partly cloudy, 15-mile-an-hour wind. So once we get in that 15-mile-an-hour mark, that's something to note for your kickers, your quarterbacks. So again, be wary of that. So it's going to be a little windy today in Chicago, in the windy city. Pittsburgh at Cleveland, we got 55 degrees, partly cloudy today, 15 again mile-an-hour winds. So again, breezy again in Cleveland. So something to note of. Atlanta's in a dome, so we got that. We got Philly at Detroit in a dome. Titans at the Colts, they're also in a dome. Bengals at the Jets, 62 degrees, partly cloudy today. Winds are 10 miles an hour, so not as windy, but still a little bit of wind there. LA at Houston, it's 72 degrees. It's clear. The winds are 3 miles an hour, so it's all nothing's going to get away with this whooping that the Texans about to get today. And a dome as well. The Patriots visit the Chargers, so that's also nothing to worry about there. Jacksonville at Seattle, 54 degrees, clear, 4-mile-an-hour winds. So great football weather. I mean, it's just a great day for football in Seattle. Washington at Denver, 46 degrees and overcast, 6-mile-an-hour winds. So again, nothing crazy there. 2 dome games for the rest of it. We got the Saints, the Bucks at Saints. You know they're in the dome. Dallas at Vikings, also in the dome. But Monday night, Giants at KC, 41-mile-an-hour winds, overcast, and 5-mile-an-hour winds. So again, nothing big to report this week. But again, as the season progresses, we're going to start to see this weather change. We'll start to see the bigger backs play a bigger role. Obviously, that's kind of scary for Derrick Henry owners because he's already playing a big role. But you'll see that as we go forward. That's why we keep doing it every Sunday. They will eventually make a difference. All right, we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to finally be able to shut the hell up, and we'll bring our guys in. Let's start talking about our Week 8 breakdown. We'll be right back.
What's up, TSS family? This is Mike, the straw that stirs the drink. Now, I know we all have our own ways of grading talent on fantasy football. A huge part of it, much like in life, is passing the eyeball test. You always have to look your best so that you could be at your best. That's why I go to Underground Cuts Barbershop in Orlando. Rob and the boys have been making ballers in Orlando look their best so that they can be at their best, on the field or on the air. Nobody performs miracles like the barbers at Underground Cuts. So go check them out. They're at 1005 West Oak Ridge Road, Suite 6, 32809, or give them a call, 407-858-0080. Underground Cuts, a proud sponsor of TSS Fantasy, the fantasy show of the people.
And Crown Apple be damn, let's welcome to the studio, Fred the Jester Reyes. Welcome, my brother.
Yeah.
I feel you. Listen, I woke up in this Care Bear suit, so that tells you what kind of night I had last night. But hey, you know what? It's Halloween theme. Let's get it rocking. Fred, I know you just got here, and I know you just woke up. But make some room, bro, because it's time for this week's Breakdown.
Don't stop, get it. Don't stop, get it. That pussy rock, that pussy.
Whoa.
Oh my. That was really getting into it there, Fred. We appreciate
That's a
it.
sight that cannot be
It
seen.
is too early in the morning for Fred to be swinging his shit in front of everybody. My
On
goodness.
Sunday at that.
Bro. And
You have to put a sticker. You got to put a sticker on that for YouTube.
Yeah, luckily Fred had an extra pair of boxers on, so we're going to be all right.
I wish
All
you was
right,
wearing
let's
a cup.
talk about today's matchups. We'll start with the Panthers at the Falcons. So the 3-4 Panthers visiting the 3-3 Falcons. I mean, when you look at this particular matchup, Carolina, it's almost like two teams going in two different directions. Where Carolina started out the season hot. Defensively, they're still good, but we talked about it extensively. You should have seen, looking at who they played, wasn't a big gamut of great teams. So again, this will be a big litmus test for both teams. Is it Carolina going in that direction of, okay, we were not who you thought we were, and Atlanta finally getting it right on offense, which we already know that once that offense got going, it was great. Defensively, they're just trash, so it doesn't matter. But as long as they get that offense going, they're good. So again, two teams, two different directions. I'll kick it to you guys. Like I said, I've talked enough this morning, so let's just kick it around the way here. Mike, we'll start with you on this particular matchup. Anyone you like, don't like, talk about sleepers, anything you got for this matchup.
I mean, if I had to pick one player, and I will, so that I can leave some stuff for others to talk about, I'm going to talk about Kyle Pitts. I mean, now you're starting to see him get comfortable in that offense. You're starting to see Matt Ryan start to trust him. And he's a strong receiver in the middle of the field. So I do like Kyle Pitts going forward. And I think that he might end up, when all said and done, as the top three tight ends.
Yeah, no, we talked about it in the offseason. He's definitely, he didn't come start the season with what we thought, those expectations, but he's certainly starting to uplift them now. Look great against Miami, but who doesn't look great against Miami? Nick, who you got for this? Who do you like in this matchup?
Okay, I'm gonna go the other side. I like DJ Moore because he's Carolina's #1 receiving threat, and as a matter of fact, he's their only receiving threat. Darnold only throws to him more or less. He's got 46 receptions, 586 yards, and 3 TDs on the season. Atlanta's defense is porous at best. I believe they're like 28th in the league. So I don't see a problem with Sam Darnold throwing on them. The only problem I see is Sam Darnold making completions. So if you want to play anybody in this game on Carolina side, DJ Moore is your man.
All right, good call there. I like that. Again, we talked about the porous defense, so it's not a bad call. That's basically Sam Darnold's only friend in that offense. He doesn't even see Robbie Anderson for some reason. So again, DJ Moore, definitely a good call there. Fred, listen, I cannot stop burping Crown Apple. Thank you once again. It's just nonstop this morning. So who are you like in this matchup?
Who do I like? I like the Atlanta Falcons. I think they this is one of my top 5 picks for the week. I actually have Atlanta covering the 3-point spread. Sam Darnold is who he is. Maybe the Jets didn't make a mistake. He's not the quarterback of the future for Carolina neither. They're already talking about who they're going to have next year. So that's where we stand.
Yeah. Again, with this particular matchup, don't see a lot on, if we're just talking about football in general, Carolina, again, two different directions, both teams. So I do like Atlanta, like you said, to cover today. I like that as well. I like to see, again, this Atlanta offense start to open up a little bit, but I went back again. To me, if we're a Halloween theme, this is kind of a scary start for them. Carolina's defense is good, and again, as they started to get things clicking, it could be an interesting day, at least say the least, for Matt Ryan to see if like these last couple of weeks are just, is it the usual helter-skelter Matt Ryan, or they're starting to click a little bit. So we'll see how this matchup goes. It'll be interesting, none to say the least. Let's go on to the Titans at the Colts. And listen, I mean, I don't need to say anything else other than in this matchup, the name Derrick Henry. I mean, nasty number one running back. I mean, isn't even close. Don't see the Colts doing much to stop him today. And also at the same time, Ryan Tannehill starting to click again. So we're starting to see flashes of brilliance from Ryan Tannehill. So that could be a good game for him as well. Nick, I'm sorry, we'll start with you on this matchup. Give me some guys you like, sleepers, anyone out of this matchup.
Again, I'll leave some meat on the bone for the rest of the guys. I'll pick on my favorite. I am going to go with Carson Wentz, of course. He's coming on strong. He's got 1,700 yards on the season, 11 TDs, and only one pick. And we all know that Tennessee's got a very porous defense, especially against the pass. So I see Wentz and Pittman hooking up, having a big game. I like Carson Wentz in this game. He could be a streamer if he's available in your league.
Nick, don't think it's not noticeable that every time that we've been brought up, like, we bring up matchups, it's always an ex-Eagle or an ex-Steeler that you like to point out. Zach Ertz, you talk about him extensively. Now we're bringing of Carson Wentz. You've talked about him every week, but not for nothing. You've been right. He's starting to catch it, starting to get to be the Carson Wentz that left Philly, prior to the injury. Like once he got that injury, we talked about that before. He played, like he was scared with the Halloween theme. Now he's starting to play well, and you've called it right for sure.
Well, I can't take all the credit because you keep setting me up. So I just take your lead and just roll with it. So don't think I'm doing this all by myself, sir.
Hey, listen, I lay it out for you to play it out. That's all there is to it. Fred, who you like in this matchup?
I like the Colts today. I wouldn't bet with them. This is one of the most interesting games of the day. They're actually playing like they should have been playing. The Colts, a lot of people thought the Colts were going to do well this year, and now they're living up to the expectations. I think it's a great game. I think two very good running backs playing against each other. I would start either one of them. I'm not sitting either one of them. I sat Derrick Henry, obviously, and that shit didn't work. So you start everybody. Taylor, Henry, start them all.
Yeah, you weren't here, but you definitely got a dumbass for wanting to sit Derrick Henry. That's for sure. Mike, who do you like in this matchup?
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't necessarily think that the Titans are just going to get an easy win on this one, or, Derrick Henry's going to have his way. I just don't see it happening. The Colts have a decent defense, and I think that if they can keep up with the Titans as far as scoring, which I think they have the capability to do now. I mean, Nick hit it on the head. Wentz is starting to get his groove. He's filling himself with that offense with Pascal. Mo Alley Cox, come on, bro. I mean, the guy is a touchdown machine. You know what I'm saying? So it's starting to show that Colts, team is coming together. Aren't they the top of their division?
No, they are 3-4. If they win, they'll be 4-4. Second, Tennessee's 5-2.
Tennessee. Okay. So it's a big game. I mean, I think that the Colts have a realistic way of winning this game today.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, to be quite frank with you. The fact of the matter is, the Colts are good. We talked about them in the offseason being a team we like. It's funny now that Fred's riding them when all we heard all offseason how bad they were. But that's what we won't say nothing. I mean, every week, Fred, by the way, start him, Jonathan Taylor. I got to bring those AFC South guys back on after all the trash you had about him. But anyway, again, a good team. They're definitely capable, like you said, Mike. And, again, we might not be the Derrick Henry show today. Who knows? It's not that cold yet that you can just dictate and say, hey, we're going to have this big background and pound today. So we'll see.
I mean,
It'll
we
be a
did
good
talk
matchup,
about
good interdivisional matchup, as we mentioned before. Speaking
did
of
say that they didn't-
interdivisional matchups, go ahead, Mike. What were you going to say? My bad.
No, I was gonna say is that they're lacking on the receiver, and you know we talked about Julio Jones being out. Chester Rogers ain't doing anything substantial. I mean, if they're preparing to stop Derrick Henry today, I mean, not sit him, but you know, temper your expectations.
Yeah, you might want to temper your expectation, indeed, and that's a good point. I mean, I think to that point though, AJ Brown owners, man, I'm telling you, he's started to get, he's starting to click back on. So get ready for him today. I think he'll see a decent day. And also Michael Pittman Jr. owners, he's been turning on too. All right, I don't really want to talk about this game much, so I'm going to kind of blow through it real quick. Dolphins at Bills. We're done. No, just kidding. Myles Gaskin. Now, we were talking about this game today. I already mentioned, I don't want to go into analytics of this game. It is what it is. When the Bills came to visit Miami, I was literally there to witness the agony. I don't know when we left, but it certainly wasn't after the fourth quarter. The fact of the matter is, prior to that game, you heard New England trash talk, the Dolphins trash talk Tua, saying, hey, when we blitz this guy, crazy things happen, interceptions happen. I literally was sitting there on the ride there going, oh God, they better make sure they block. Literally the first play, the guy wasn't even blocked at all. Boom, hits Tua. I mean, that's how they set the tone. So expect Tua to be blitzed today. Miami better have some kind of game plan, or it's literally, I'm going to turn this game off in the first quarter if it's not, if they don't find some way to pick up the blitz. But speaking of fantasy, Myles Gaskin today. Believe it or not, my sneaky sleeper out of this game, since you guys haven't mentioned a sleeper, I'm going to do it in this one because no Malcolm Brown. So there's no Malcolm Brown. It's not that three running back the rotation that they were doing. So expect a lot of targets from Myles Gaskin today. Expect a lot of attempts from him today, which could mean big things for him later on. I'll let you guys talk about the Bills because it's easy. Fred, we'll start with you. Let's talk about this matchup.
This is a very boring game. They're playing in Buffalo where it's cold. Only thing I'm starting, obviously I'm not starting any Dolphins, but I'm definitely starting the Bills defense.
Yeah, that's an easy call, like I said, easy. But again, don't forget Josh Allen, that the Miami Dolphins, I brought it up earlier, are the easy lay for the Bills, for Josh Allen. That's for damn sure. Mike, who you got? Who you like in this matchup? I bet you wouldn't.
If I'm gonna pick one player, Zach Moss. It's gonna get out of control early, so it's gonna be a lot of running, I think. And Zach Moss performed well the last game. He got in the end zone, so I would pick Zach Moss if I had to look out for any of them. It's just gonna be a blowout, I think.
All right, let's settle down with the chuckling. All right, Nick, who you like?
Another sleeper you could pick for the Buffalo is going to be Sweeney. Their tight end, their replacement for Dawson Knox. So you might want to pick him up if you're streaming a tight end. Seems to be favorite target of Josh Allen. And also, if you have $50, according to Vivid Seats, you can have $50 worth of fun watching the Miami Dolphins get slaughtered.
Listen, I'm so glad you brought that up, actually, because listen, the freaking Falcons game, it was the Falcons game. I couldn't even give my tickets away to see the Dolphins. So I meant to bring that up on your show.
That's not the cheapest seat. And if we get to the game, I will bring up which is the cheapest seat you can go to today.
All right, yeah. Speaking of that, we're kind of getting close. We were taking a little long, so I'm just going to kick it to 1 on each game. So make sure if I skip you on that, make sure you let me know. Let's go. I'm going to go to Fred to this one though. The Bengals at the Jets. Listen, after last week, I actually thought the Jets, they were starting to click a little bit. I thought defensively this could be a good game against Mac Jones. But, that was, like I said, that wasn't just by Mageddon. It was Jet Mageddon last week. Fred, tell me fantasy-wise, I should start any Jet in this game.
No. None. I don't even see not. Oh, okay. No.
Wait.
Corey Davis might get his receptions because Mike White kept throwing to him last week. He's the only one that might get you points.
Corey Davis is not going to get any receptions because he's out today.
That's right. He's out. Don't take any Jets. No Jets.
Fred, for not knowing your own
I
fucking
did
team.
know that. He reminded me.
Dumbass. Thank these. They call me dumbass. Play kind anytime. Stupid.
All right, hey, that's your team, bro. I'm not gonna hit dumbass unless it's your own team. Like, come on, bro. You should at least know that one. Damn. All right, yeah, and go ahead, Nick. What you got?
If you're desperate, you might want to play Crowder. And the cheapest game this week is the Bengals at the Jets for $12. So if you got $12, I think it's going to cost you more for a Coke than it is for a ticket.
Obviously, on the other side, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and Joe Mixon are all safe plays. And again, I mentioned it before. If you guys weren't on here, please don't mention T. Higgins on the show again. I'm tired of hearing about him because he don't do nothing after however many targets. What was it we brought up? 15, 16 targets, and you made 60 yards out of it, bro. Goodbye. I'm done talking about you. All right, let's go on to the Steelers and Browns. Mike, we're going to kick it to you on this one. Actually, no, we'll kick it to Nick since it's his team.
No, go ahead, Mike.
It's okay. We'll go to you. I like hearing your analysis. Plus, you have Ben Roethlisberger as your start. So let's just go. I'm going to kick it to you. I don't even break it down too much, but a big interdivisional game. We see a lot of these division games this week, so it's going to be fun. Let's kick it to you. Baker Mayfield is in this game. Does that make a difference for you? Because I know that you picked up Steelers D this week in another league. So does that make a big difference for you now that Baker's in?
As I said on the last show, Baker makes better commercials than he does plays on the field. So that's why I picked up the Steelers defense. Again, I mean, this is an old-time rivalry. You can throw out the stats. You can throw out the record. It's just going to be a tough AFC North ground and pound, 3 yards and a cloud of dust type of game. So, but I do think that Roethlisberger, I think he will step up and have a decent game. I think Deontay Johnson will come through, and of course you got Claypool. So I'm going to leave Cleveland for the other guys, but I think Pittsburgh will win the game. The over/under is 43. So.
Yeah. Again, we talked about it a couple times that we felt like Baker Mayfield, Case Keenum was almost a step up at this point, the way Baker's been playing. So I'm not sure what, the big impact he's going to have in this matchup. But I like Cleveland overall in the game because they've been playing so lights out offensively, even without freaking Baker. It's just give the ball to Chubb or whoever's in the backfield. That offensive line is that good. That's the end of the story. I mean, Freddie can run through that line for anything. No. So, if Fred's getting 100 yards, anyone's getting 100 yards. All right, Mike, we're going to kick it to you for this next matchup, the Rams and Texans. I mean, like I've before mentioned, this should be the complete smackdown or Fred SWAT of the week, if you will. The Rams coming into Houston, all guns blazing. Should be a good game all the way around. And Houston could have some sneaky fantasy plays because the fact is they're going to be playing catch up. Let's just keep it real. So, again, to you, my friend, who you like in this game? What you got on it?
This is what's frustrating about fantasy football. We're talking about all these lopsided games. We talked about the Jets. We talked about the Dolphins game. We talk about what should be these outstanding offensive performances that we are all just going to be just showered with all these fantasy points because of our matchups. And then these players don't cash the check. This is what I'm talking about. Like I have Darrell Henderson, but I have a sneaky gut feeling that it's going to be a Sony Michel game. It'll end up being where they're going to be up a lot, and then it ends up being – and this is what you end up having to risk with all your matchups. I got Emmanuel Sanders in another league. If they're up big, why are you going to be throwing the ball so much? So these are the things that you're going to have to you're going to play Henderson. Yeah, you're going to play Woods. Yeah, you're going to play Kupp. Yeah, you're going to play Stafford. There's no brainers. But you have to fight yourself, and you have to temper your expectation with these players because – somewhere between what you expect and what's actually going to happen, it's probably going to be somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, actually, speaking of that, I talked about Darrell Henderson as one of my starts of this week, because I feel like you mentioned, I feel like, they're going to jump up early. They're going to start pounding the ball. Now, whether it's Henderson or Tony Michel, that remains to be seen. But again, you expect them to get up early, expect a good, nice ground game from the Rams. So that's kind of what I foresee as well into this matchup. Also on the other side, Brandon Cooks, don't forget about him. Could be a sneaky good play today because, again, they'll be playing catch-up. So expect some deep balls to Brandon Cooks. David Mills, as Fred alluded to, isn't that horrible. So, again, fantasy-wise, could be a decent matchup.
Philip Lindsay catching them balls down low.
Good point there as well, because we brought up the trade with Mark Ingram. Now he's over in New Orleans again. So again, Philip Lindsay, David Johnson, obviously they're going to see an uptick in targets and attempts. So we'll see who breaks out of there. And you brought up, I like Philip Lindsay better than David Johnson just because he's a little younger, although they're both very susceptible to injuries. Fred, we'll kick it to you for this next matchup, the 49ers at the Bears. Oh, Mike, my bad. I'm kicking all around. I should have kicked it to your team, but my bad on this one. 49ers at the Bears today. 2-4 against 3-4. Right now, the 49ers coming in way below what, of course, the expectation was for them this year. But Jimmy G looks like, again, the starter today. Bears D is not the monsters the midway, so nothing to be scared of. So he could have an okay day, but again, Eli Mitchell is back apparently, and we'll see if that continues because we know how the San Francisco likes to play around with its running backs. But we'll see. Eli Mitchell could be nice. Justin Fields right now kind of still looks like he's in Pop Warner playing in the pros. I mean, he's just not ready for this. So 49ers D, I think a good play today as well. What do you think about this matchup?
To Mike?
Fred, it was for you.
Oh, okay. I think this is a very boring matchup. I don't like anybody on either side of the ball, to be honest. Maybe Eli Mitchell because he's doing well, and the Chicago running back. I can't remember his name right now. My brain is a little bit lost.
Khalil Herbert.
Right. Those are the only two people I would attempt to start. This game is boring. Like you said, people have high expectations for the 49ers. I didn't see it, and it's happening now. They're not that good.
Yeah, we've had a lot of talks over the offseason about the Niners, and I would think we kind of felt the same way. I just wasn't seeing what everyone else was, and like you said, it's being played out right in front of us. They're going to have to, decide, is it Jimmy G, is it Trey Lance, and build the offense, and obviously it's Trey Lance. So just build the offense around him, trade Jimmy G. Let's start moving forward for your future, because right now with your record, not like you're playing for this year. Yes, Nick?
Just worth noting, Khalil Mack is out. So that's going to open up the middle. It could open up the running game for San Francisco. And, of course, it's going to have Jimmy G a lot less terrorizing day on the passing side.
All right, indeed. Good note for there as well. All right, speaking of you, Nick, let's go to our final 1 o'clock matchup, and let's go to that Eagles-Lions matchup. Again, I mentioned it earlier. If you see this game 2-5 versus 0-7, this is why, to Mike's point, he said this is why you hate fantasy football. This is why you love fantasy football, because quite honestly, who the hell would be watching this game if you weren't a fan of either team, quite frankly? But now you got Jalen Hurts against Detroit. So you want to see this matchup. You want to see what Devonta Smith does. You still got TJ Hawkinson playing against a porous secondary for the Eagles. I like both these offenses to play well and get good fantasy points today. Nick, what are your thoughts?
Well, obviously you're going to play Jalen Hurts because he's leading the team in passing and rushing. In rushing, he's got 361 yards and 5 TDs. But a sneaky good play this week, we've been talking about him, is Kenny Gainwell. So you might want to play Gainwell. He's going to get on the not only is he going to run the ball, he's going to get those short passes and could take it down the house on the sideline. And also, don't forget about Boston Scott. Boston Scott could get a good play today. I have to play him because I got nobody else. So other than that, I don't know why else you would watch this game because of what you said, unless you're a fan or unless you like to see beautiful stadiums, which is Ford Field. Other than that, there's no point watching this game. This is going to be a snore of the week. Philly is getting, though, -3.5.
Yeah, so, again, go ahead, Fred.
This is one of my picks. My second pick out of the 5. I actually taking Detroit plus 3.5 because if they don't win, it's gonna be very close. They always lose in like the last play or the last drive. So I'm definitely taking Detroit on this one.
All right, very good. What was your record last week, by the way? I
don't know.
forgot.
I'm having internet issues, so I can't see.
That's my bad. My bad, folks. Again, we were partying last night, and I forgot to do game prep, or excuse me, show prep. So that's my bad. All right, we're gonna take a quick break. We gotta do our 4 o'clock games when we come back and see if we can get to the Monday Nighter. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the island. Island Peppa Skincare Products. Love your skin your way. Stop by today at islandpeppaskincare.com to look at our variety of products for both men and women. Because in the islands, the peppa is always black.
The peppa is always black indeed. All right, so we got our 4 o'clock games. Gonna kind of breeze through these. We're getting up against it here. Let's talk real quick. We talked about scary matchups. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of scared for the Jaguars because Seattle actually played pretty decently the last game defensively. I was kind of shocked, to be honest with you. And the Jags, quite frankly, are very turnover prone and think so. It's going to be an interesting game nonetheless. Jaguars at Seattle. Let's see who I haven't got to. Nick, I think you're up. Let's talk about, excuse me, I think you did the last one. Mike, you're up. Let's talk about this game. Who do you like? Who do you don't like? And give me a sleeper or 2.
Man, geez. I like Robinson. I like Robinson today. Man, talk about you got to play Lockett, but you're scared as hell if you're going to try to play Lockett today. Metcalf is going to perform, and we're seeing that Geno feels good throwing the ball to Metcalf and Metcalf making plays once he gets the ball. So those two on offense, stay away from Geno. I mean, don't even pick him up on a waiver this week. That's about it on that one.
Yeah, I personally, if I had Tyler Lockett, I'd sit him today if you had to, because quite frankly, Geno can't hit that deep ball, and that's what Tyler Lockett does well. So if you've got that missing connection, I mean, just to me right now anyway, he'd not a play for me. All right, let's go to you, Fred. Let's talk about the Bucs and the Saints. Jameis Winston coming back to the the Bucs are traveling to Jameis Winston. So again, I talked about him being a scary start this week, not because the Bucs secondary is good, but because we know what happens to Jameis Winston in big games. So that to me will be the most interesting aspect of this game, what Jameis Winston comes to play. What are your thoughts on it?
I think the Bucs win this game handily. I think start all the Bucs players that you normally would, all the receivers, their defense. I don't like Jameis Winston today at all, even at home. So, let's do this though. Kamara did play up to Kamara standards last week. I think going forward, we have to start Kamara. They finally figured out that you have to hit him in the flat, dump offs. You have to do it, and it worked last week. And I picked the Bucs to cover the 4.5. So that's one of the third pick out of the 5.
It finally dawned on Sean Payton, hey, Michael Thomas is still out. Let me use my best player. Like, that would make sense. Again, with no Antonio Brown this game, again, expect big things from Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. And again, we'll see what Gronk. Just be careful because, again, a nice shot to the ribs, and it's bye-bye Gronk and your tight end position. So we'll be interested to see how that plays out today. Nick, let's go to you, the FT. Visit the Broncos. And we talked about fantasy, talk about football matchups in general, 2-5 versus 3-4. Again, a game I probably wouldn't normally want to see. But again, with fantasy purposes, it could be very interesting. I'm interested to see how Teddy Bridgewater plays today against FT. Will FT finally step up? And I have this weird feeling that I think it's probably because I picked him up, that this is the day FT finally shows up defensively, picks off Teddy Bridgewater like 3 times. For some reason, I just got this weird feeling about this game. I feel like that's what's going to happen. I think FT actually might win this going away. I know it sounds crazy, but I just got this weird premonition when I woke up this morning. But my friend, this is your game. Tell me about it. Anybody you like?
Well, the over-under is a 45, so they're not expecting a whole lot of scoring. I'm hoping, personally, for my sake, that Gibson falls in the end zone. But on Denver's side, I want to look at Bridgewater. This could be a big Bridgewater game because of the terrible pass defense that Watson is putting forth. He's got 12 TDs and only 5 picks, which is pretty good. And maybe we might see a little bit of a resurgence of Melvin Gordon coming back, taking over that starter role. He's got 350 yards and 2 TDs. He's been splitting a lot of time with Javonte Williams. So hopefully, at least for Denver fans and for those owners of Bridgewater and Gordon, that those 2 guys perform. But again, to Mike's point, you can do all the analysis in the world. You could say, okay, this should happen, this should happen, this should happen, and it goes sideways. So I'm hoping that we're actually right and it goes correct for all of us.
Well, that's the premise of the show, Nick. I mean, the bottom line is all these, quote, experts are guessing just like we are. So we can sit here and do all the analysis we want. It could just go absolutely the opposite way than usual. Mike, let's go to you. We got to wrap up our 4 o'clock games, Patriots and the Chargers. I mean, not one I want to blow through, but again, this is, I think, just in general, a good football game. Interesting to see. You're going to see the Patriots, though, going East Coast to West Coast, so that always does matter in these matchups. Talk about this game. Anybody in particular you like or sleeper-wise?
Well, I mean, I guess we're just going to sit and wait and find out on Eckler, I guess. You know, apparently he's questionable. I read this morning that he actually has himself on his own fantasy team. So, but he's starting himself. So I guess he's ready to go. So, that bodes well if you're an Eckler fan. Big Mike Williams day I'm expecting today. I think he needs this game to just, have some continuity. We always said that he was going to be up and down, and we were worried about his consistency. If he does it today, now he's on track to, be able to be one of those top performers week to week.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. That's a big factor fantasy-wise in this matchup. Is Austin Eckler good today? That's the big question for you guys. Definitely monitor that. Not a game I want to blow through, but the Sunday nighter. Listen, I mean, we don't really even need to talk about it because the fact is, if you have anyone in this matchup, you got to start them. Other than Dak, we've talked about Dak earlier. Will he or will he not? If I'm a fantasy owner, I'm definitely getting someone else and starting him just because we just don't know, and you can't risk that all the way into a Sunday night game. Bottom line, just make sure you get some points. Fred, what do you got?
This is my game number 4. Take the Vikings with the 3 points.
Nice. Who's your 5th one? Because we got to head out. Who do you got?
Chiefs versus Giants. Chiefs will cover plus 10.5. Mahomes comes back. They beat the Giants handily. Last week I went 4-1. I won every game: Arizona, Bucks, Colts, Seahawks, and I lost with the Jets.
So 4-1. You went 3-2 the week before. So what's that? 7-3. All right, doing well on your betting. I listen. That's what we like to bring up. Hey, as long as we're helping the people out, that's what we're doing. All right. Again, you mentioned it too. The game Monday night. KC, obviously, you're going to start everybody at KC. Giants actually are a decent play, too. I like Daniel Jones, could be decent. And again, we brought up Sterling Shepard. If he goes, could be a good play for that game as well. All right, we're going to get out of here very quickly because up next, again, you're start your Sunday with Belly Up. I'm going to get that line down at some point. Don't forget, up next is the Coach Steve Show with the Bears pregame. Again, 10-11, you got 4th and 4. Rough cut at 11 and 12. And MD with Dan Mader at 11 gets you ready for your Sunday. So that's the way we're doing it from here going forward, and we appreciate you guys. Happy Halloween, everybody. I know, Fred, just so you know, by the way, I didn't wear this to your party last night because it's hot as fuck and I can hardly hear you. So here we go. That's why I couldn't hear earlier, Mike. Now everything's like an audio, like some big stereo system. All right, guys. Again, happy Halloween. We appreciate you guys. Visit us, TSS Fantasy, Unhinged Radio, Belly Up Sport Podcast. You're waking up, starting up with Belly Up. We appreciate you, and we are out.
You look ridiculous.